Hello, hello, hello. Another episode of Misfit Toys. We got our beautiful and talented Miss Maria de la Ghetto. What's up, girl? How you doing?
Hey.
And we have our wonderful Mistress K. How are you doing today?
Oh, wonderful. I'm loving it. I'm having a great day.
So Mistress K, she came down. She's actually in Baja with me. She's in the other room over there. But yes, so she came down to Mexico. We're doing a show tomorrow down here in Saturday, the 19th. So anybody who is watching or down here in Punta Banda in Ensenada, we're going to be doing a live outdoor socially distanced comedy show at La Marina. So check us out at 5. That's going to be live and on fire. So what's been going on this week, Maria? Tell me what's been on your mind?
What's been on my mind? Quite a few things. So first of all, let's do some breakfast and bitch. I want to, we'll keep it with the program. So for breakfast, I had a little egg and cheese sandwich. It was delish. And then I have some cake and cookies that my dad made last night per my request. With my elderberry tea. Yes, a bitch is feeling like festive. Anyway, but I do want to bitch. I want to bitch right now because I got some shit on my mind, as we all know, always I've got some shit on my mind. But I was, on Instagram, as we always do, trolling or not. I don't tend to troll, but a lot of people like to. And there was this issue that came up that I was like, oh, it reminded me, it kind of ties into, have you guys seen the previews for Promising Young Woman? Have you guys seen that with Carey Mulligan?
No, I have not.
Okay, so the plot so far, I only seen the trailer. I'm excited to watch it. The plot is this young woman or whatever, she goes to bars and pretends to get shit-faced, like she can't walk or she's wobbly, and then she goes home with these guys. Some of them are nice guys, right? You already know, Mistress K. You already know.
I saw the trailer. I saw the trailer.
Yes. And so in the middle of it, she's like, she's in there, she's in it deep. And then she's like, hey, can you call me a cab? And the guys will usually, so far, what I've seen is they still try to put the moves on her, even though she's clearly incapacitated and can't make rational decisions. And so they're like, no. And then all of a sudden she's like, I said, call me a cab. Sobers up to them. Like, obviously she's not drunk. And so it's this whole thing of, she fakes being drunk. These guys are clearly taking advantage of her. And then it's like this, they go to court and they're like, and then one woman plays another, I forget who actor, but she's like, you're not going to ruin these lives of these men because of a mistake. I'm like, and then Carey Mulligan's like, imagine the women, what they have to go through. So that ties into this post that I saw on Instagram that I follow, this account called Fuck Patriarchy. Shout out to them. I love their stuff. And it was a whole thing of, so the post said, specifically this one, said, give me one second. Most men love women who possess confidence only when it makes them fun, flirty, and comfortable in their sexuality. But the second you demonstrate high standards, a strong will, and the assertiveness required to call them out of their bullshit, then all of a sudden you're a bitch. And I was like, ooh, big facts, And then all these guys had to chime in and they're like, oh, those are not facts, It kind of takes it back to that saying. A lot of people, this is like a thing that's been going around now, men are trash. And the first men that are always the ones that, not all men, are ready to go up to bat for men, but won't even listen to women's stories and women about why we even say that. So Ray knows what's up. I wish I could do that, Ray. I wish I could say the same thing, But so here we are. I am in an impasse. But
here's the thing. I'm going to interject for a minute because I got to stick up for guys. Okay, yes, I agree. Not all men are like that.
Right, of course.
But right, I feel like this show is creating a taboo topic about rape culture and bringing it to the forefront where people are like us are having conversations about it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there is a right answer. It's a thing that needs to be put into place in schools. So, right. and in homes where good men are teaching younger men how to be good men, you know, and how to know what boundaries are and like how to treat a woman. Because that's the thing, like quintessentially, it's how do you treat a woman?
Right.
That's literally the underlining story of like that whole show. It's like, how do you treat a woman?
Just ask a gay man.
So what?
Every woman is different. You treat.
But I think the thing is that's 100%. Like the thing is, what women are trying to say is like the whole men are trash kind of like it's a call to arms of like, look, so many women, and let's be real, like more women, like women are more at risk anywhere than a man. That's just facts, right? And I think the people, not just men, but people are missing the point of we're saying these things to bring it to the forefront because instead of saying not all men, what are you doing to take accountability? Are you holding your trash friends accountable? Because let's be real, most of your, like, if you're a guy, most of your friends are those guys, those perpetrators, those men who are treating women like shit.
No. And number one example that was brought to the forefront is Judge Kavanaugh when he was getting sworn in. That whole thing about, you know, him liking beer and, you know, potentially raping that woman got berated for 4 days on C-SPAN about something that happened when she was in college, that she was brave enough to say something and say, hey, this person did these things to me, and now you're going to put him in one of the highest positions of the land to make decisions for all of us. And the fact that wasn't even like, not even a factor in swearing this guy in because it's politics as usual. Yep. It goes to show you that like women are very devalued in this country. And then if you're a woman of color, you're even below that, you know, like you're terrible. Like you're not even considered a human being. And point blank, like, you know, we've been joking being in Mexico, like where we are off the grid and coming in late at night. We've been, you know, saying jokes about like human trafficking, but it's like really not funny. It's one of those things, you know, and it's, you know, my sister was going to travel back home through the quarantine because it's just easier than flying and it's less risk. But she was going to travel back home cross country. And my father, first of all, was like, if you love us, don't, because we're old and you might have the you might have the Rona.
Right.
But then he was saying, you know, like you're a young woman traveling by yourself for a couple of hours, like any number of things could happen. And then I kind of asked my dad, I was like, are you worried because of the state of the world, or are you just worried because my sister is a woman? And my dad's like, it's because she's a woman.
Yeah,
and
for sure. And it sucks that you can't
do the times that we live in.
And yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like, there's just
the
so
thing
much.
Is though, the thing is you know Maria as well as I do, is that when you get around a group of men, right? And you're like maybe one or two chicks out of the whole place. Mm-hmm. If you say anything that's female empowerment or like anything that backs women, right? Mm-hmm. Anything of that subject, guys, like they clench their dicks and they shrivel and they're just like, oh, what is this? You know? And it's
they feel like it's an attack. Listen, on
I'm
them.
not attacking you. I'm just telling you our plight.
Yep. Exactly. So that I just wanted to bring that up because for sure, like, again, when that, like, it's just the moment, like you said,
but the show is also making women look like, again, we're the stereotypical of what men think, that we're out to get them. Like, that's what I don't like about the show, is the show, like, as women, we're like, yeah.
Oh, we lost her.
You know, we should just have a band of gay boys that goes out and harasses.
I get even with those, dirt bags. But then but then if you get punched, it's a hate crime. So I mean,
real quick,
right? Like,
why don't you guys just go in one room? I was just curious if you guys are in the same area and the same spot. Because I mean, I missed a whole chunk of what you said, Mistress K. I don't even know what you just said, except the punching in the face was a hate crime. That's all I got.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, I was suggesting, but you don't have to. I was just saying the bandwidth probably to come out. Oh, I see. Okay. But anyways, say that one more time. Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, I said that this show, right, for women, we're like, yes, like somebody's finally sticking up for us. But in the return, in the opposite, men are looking at this show and going, see, they're out there to get us. There are women that are doing this. That's why they're making a show.
Again, it cut out.
Where does the show air?
I don't think.
Sorry?
Where does the show air, Maria, that you're talking about?
Oh, it's a movie that's coming out. Oh,
okay.
So, I missed a chunk at the end, Mistress K, but I see your point and I see what you're saying. But that, for me, I feel like men have so many spaces and everything. So I feel like we should be able to say what we want to say and feel the way we want to feel. But it's definitely a good point to make sure, like today, like we know not all men are like that, but there's a huge population that is, and our lives are in fear every day. So I think men, you guys really need to take that into account before you start to feel some type of way, before you feel attacked. For me to just outspokenly say what I got to say, and then immediately you want to come for me, like where you have space everywhere else. And if you're in my space, this is my space where I get to say whatever I want. Like, don't come for me. Don't come for me just like that. Like, they're not like, most of the time in my experience, again, they're not even trying to understand. They're just trying to prove that they're not the bad one or not all men. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you, instead of saying that, like, what are you doing to promote not all men instead of, well, not all men, So meet in the middle. I like your points that you made, Mistress K. So that's taking it. I'm taking it in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was my little rant of the day. What did you have for breakfast? And what would you like to bitch about?
What did I have for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
This right here, my solve everything, my yellow Red Bull.
Ooh, I like that flavor.
Yeah, I don't eat breakfast. Like, it's not my. If I eat breakfast, it's usually at like lunch. It's like brunch or it's dinner. It's never at breakfast time. Like, my body needs a good like couple of hours to figure out what it wants to eat because I'm a vegetarian. So eating isn't fun for me anymore. It's just essential.
Oh man,
you're fighting words.
No, I get it. You got to get creative because I've tried over the years, like off and on, to go vegan. I think the longest I've gone like fully vegan was a month. And it was hard because you have to cut out so many delicious things, but you get creative, and there were a lot of things that I enjoyed. But yeah, no, it's hard. It's just, and if you're not like inclined to cook, if you're not the cooking type, it's even harder because it's hard to find things. So I feel you. Do you eat eggs?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, that's the one thing. Even though I tried vegan, I love eggs. I could never give up eggs. So at least you got that. I don't know if you like eggs.
Me too. I love eggs. And it's funny because, with vegans, I was vegan for 45 days. It was I literally thought I was going through like drug withdrawals because I was just like, like, I just want some bread.
Yeah.
And cheese and eggs. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. But here's the thing: being vegan for 45 days, I tried a lot of different things. That the substitutes were pretty good. Like the vegan mayonnaise actually tastes better than regular mayonnaise. And then like if you get vegan cheese that's made with almond milk, right? Like you don't like, you know, when you eat a lot of cheese, it kind of upsets your stomach because about 80% of us are lactose intolerant.
Oh yes.
So it just like you didn't have any bad reaction after eating it. So it was.
I'm scared of the vegan food. Like
really, it's good. You should try it.
They just because they replaced.
Hey, this is good.
We're just gonna shove all these crazy nuts and allergens into this thing, and it's just like chock full of.
If you have a nut allergy, for sure you might die. So not recommending that.
Oh well, have you ever been to
like
the vegan cafe in Los Angeles called Gratitude?
Oh yeah, I love that place. So good.
And you have to order. They're like, okay, well, I would like the I am magical. You are magical. They're like, I would like the I'm empowered. You are. And like, you can't just order a sandwich. You got to order like I'm a mystical being with a side of hope. Like it is so.
Their names are real. That's the one on Larchmont, right?
Yes. And I remember I ordered the dessert, and she's like, "Are you loving the? I am liberated." And I was like. She's like, are you feeling liberated? I'm like, I think I'm feeling allergic. I started breaking out in hives from all
my God.
And he put so much stuff in that. Oh my gosh. But that is the quintessential LA restaurant is that I am happy. Yes, you are happy. I'm like, just order the sandwich.
Although I was like, are these people high? Like, I was like, I'm from Boston. Okay. Like I just want a sandwich. Like, and it was so funny because I did order their like chicken, like their buffalo chicken sandwich, which was made out of mushrooms, and it was delicious. But everything else was, but that was good. Yeah.
My cookie's not vegan. There's so much butter in it.
So is this the first time in Mexico? Have you been down to Baja before, Mistress K?
No, I've been to Playa del Carmen and I've been to Cancun and Mexico City, but I've never been to Baja. So this is actually like, this is beautiful. This is amazing. Like I sat this morning at like 6:45 on the ledge here. And I was just like reflecting about like just being here and being present in the moment. And like, I had a hippie moment and I was just like, I'm one of these people now. I was like, oh my God, like I'm so California now. Like I'm reflecting, I'm appreciating. Whereas like, the cynic of Boston in me is just like, meh, But, yeah.
Did you get your
I was like, when are we gonna get drunk and fall off the ledge?
Did Iggy take you to the crystal shop? Because I was like, oh my God, I have all my crystals. Like, it's so California. I'm like, all my little crystals. I feel you, because I'm a hood bitch. I grew up in East LA. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like with my crystals and my yoga. I'm on my day 5 yoga challenge type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, and it's funny because I have a joke where I talk about like, I'm like a white woman now, but it was made by people of color. So I don't know. I feel a little like torn. You know what I'm saying?
No, I really do want to go to that crystal store though, because here's the thing. Okay, true story. When I lived in Boston, when I was a little kid, I used to collect rocks and like geos and stuff like that. I used to have one of those things back. Okay, I'm an 80s baby. I had a rock tumbler. Anybody who knows what that is, okay? Like it was all the rage, right? In like 89, and you just put like regular rocks and hope that they were crystals and stuff. And I had like all these rocks. And then somebody at school told me that it wasn't cool to collect rocks, so I got rid of them. Now here I am, and I could have had like a really awesome crystal rock collection with all this energy stuff, and I got rid of it. So I don't know.
They have a rock collection now, bunch of assholes.
So, Mrs. K.
So I don't know.
You started as a dominatrix. Is that true? before comedy?
Yeah. Yes. So I was in a really bad relationship for about 11 years. And I thought I could save it by bringing sex toys into the bedroom. Because I was one of those women that like, okay, like TMI, but I'm super horny. Like I literally like, like I, you know, it's like you talk about eating breakfast. Like I just talk about like having sex every day. Like I got to get my daily dose of love. And I was with somebody that I literally was just like, oh, not today. And like, we were lucky if we had sex like twice a month. And it was so bad because I just felt like I was, like I felt like I was raping him in the middle of the night where I'd just be like, come on. And then I'd like jump on and like, you know, get my like 5 minute of jolly. And so like the joke that I tell on stage, that's because of him. And he was just like, not tonight and all this stuff. And I was one of those women that like, I did the most. Like he'd come home from work and I'd be in like this like sexy negligee and like candles and like role play.
Dang.
And he was just like, not tonight, not feeling it. And I was just like, really? Really? You're going to turn this down? Like there's men out there that would kill for this. So I started selling sex toys to try to save that relationship. And needless to say, the sex toys stayed. The man did not. And then when I got out of that, relationship, selling sex toys, you meet very interesting people. And they try to pull you into their little realm. They're like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And so I was just feasting on all these like sexual morsels of just trying stuff, and went through this like sexual bucket list. I mean, some people call it a hoe phase. I just considered it a lifestyle change.
Not a phase, Mom. It's not a phase.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I found out that I was really good at getting like, you know, like 28 years of like garbage, being treated like garbage by men, and then like focusing my energy and putting it on men. And then somebody was like, you could get paid for this. Like you're doing this for free for me. Like I appreciate it and I have a great time, but you could make some money doing this. So I was like, really? And then I was like, well, I do have student loans to pay. So hence Mistress K was born, and I've been whipping men into shape ever since. And some women. I'm an equal opportunity employer. I'm not gonna lie.
So I have a question.
I'm gay for pay.
I would say, so that actually was on my bucket list for years and might still be, becoming a dominatrix. I've always fantasized about doing that and whatnot, and they pays really well. What would you say to someone who was interested but has nowhere to start, like knows nothing? What advice, like if I wanted to say tomorrow, like I wanted to get into it, how would I go about it? What would be my first steps?
Well, the first thing is don't watch 50 Shades of Grey. Because that movie is garbage. Okay? Like, there's not some hot billionaire that has like this magical red room. Like, it does not exist. Okay? Like, that whole contract scene, I was dying. I was like, oh, barf. This is so bad. Yeah. No, here's the thing. With the internet, the best thing with the internet now is there's so many like platforms like FetLife. FetLife is like the kinky version of Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Where you can put your nudes on there, or you can write whore in the comment box and you don't get flagged.
Yes.
Like whore is like saying on FetLife, you know? So there's that. There's also like within the kink community, there is these little things called munches, right? And a munch is basically a social circle for people who are kinky minded to come and chat and meet. It's kind of like a networking place. But inherently, you have to really kind of know what it is sexually that you like and what you're looking for. And then you can go from there. And here's the thing, there are plenty of books out there about how to be a mistress. So if you wanted to read a book, like you could do that. There's books out there for that. There's also dominatrix out there that do classes, which I've now just recently, I've done some workshops, you know, being a sexual health educator for almost 9 years now. So I've done workshops about like establishing your dominance in the bedroom, and then like, you know, how to work foreplay and like what it is that you're looking for, and having consent talks with your partners. So I've done all that kind of stuff, but there are people that do classes. Midori, she is a dominatrix. She's been around, I'm not going to tell you her age, but she's been around for a while. And she's based out of San Francisco. And she has this femme dominance class, which if you have the money, it's totally worth it. But it's a workshop where you go in San Francisco for like a week and a half. And she gives you like soup to nuts on how to be like the most dominant you can be. But yeah, there is training out there. There's training for everything.
Would you consider yourself an alpha female, Maria?
Yes, yes, for sure. Funny enough, in the bedroom, it's completely opposite. I've read that that's actually really common with people because it's the one place where you can relinquish control. I'm a very I like to be in control, what I'm doing, where I'm going, how I'm, you know, even like driving, I prefer to drive because I want to be able to dip out if some shit goes down, you know. But yeah, I definitely think I have a female personality. But in the behind closed doors, it's like I don't want to make decisions. I don't want, you know what, Daddy, you can tell me what to do. Like I don't want to think. I think every other time in every other space, this is where I get to relax. Yeah.
What does alpha mean to you, Mistress K?
Okay, so alpha female, anybody can Google it, and that's literally the definition. But for me, it's just somebody who's very confident in being who they are. Okay, like confidence is the most sexiest thing that you could ever put on. Like, you know, you got to fake it till you make it, just do it. But confidence, I feel like comes with age, right? Like confidence comes with age and knowing oneself. So it's not something that can be taught inherently. It's just something that you have to like look in the mirror and go, yeah, I'm a badass bitch, and just own it.
Yes. I love it.
And honestly, like being an alpha female also means that rather than stepping on other people to get where you're going, you inherently help those people, right? Like one of the things that I've been told for the longest time is, you know, like, oh, you're so confident. You're so confident in who you are. And I've always been that way. Like, it's not something that I was like, oh, I've got to figure out how to be myself. It was just something that inherently my upbringing, where like I've been through some shit where I was just like, I can handle anything. And then knowing that like I'm comfortable in my own skin, where I'm just like, this is it. Like this is the best that you're gonna get. Like, and just love it. Just love who you are, love who you like, your inner spirit. And like if there's something that you don't like, you can change it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they broke the mold making you. Like you are your own individual snowflake. And I feel like with women, right, we get told by so many different influences in our lives, even like culture, that we're told we're not good enough. And I was just like, why?
Yep.
Why am I not good enough? Like this is all I can be. I'm pretty amazing. And, you know, that's just one of the things that like women have constantly told me over the years. You're so confident. I could never do that. I could never say this. I could never be like you. And it's like, you don't have to be like me. Be like you.
Yep. Absolutely.
And just love
Very
it.
well said. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's amazing. That is totally, I mean, it's bad. Like, I have an immigrant Asian mother. So, you know, damn well, I've been told more than enough times that I could lose some weight or I could, you know, whatever. There's always something. If it's not the magazines growing up, it was TV shows. And honestly, I stopped watching TV a lot for a minute because I just got so tired of seeing the same thin, generally white bodies. And even if there is some diversity, there's a very specific mold. And I'm just like, and you know, I've seen some stuff with big girls, and I just honestly, not every big girl, like it shouldn't just always be centered around her weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a big girl on the show as a character, like, can she just be like everybody else? You know what I'm saying? Why is it always got to be about her weight? Some of us don't give a shit. We are fine where we are. We okay. We good. You know? Dang.
Because being a bigger person makes other people insecure, right? It makes other people feel some kind of way, right? And it's like, hey, don't put your shit on me. Like, I'm just living my life out here. Like, if I want to eat cake for, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's my business. Exactly.
I'm not eating
That's my business.
I love yellow cake.
I agree with that. Like, and here's the thing: the shows that I have seen that are with bigger actresses, right? Predominantly, like for example, Rebel Wilson, right? She was a big girl, considered in Hollywood standards, which I mean, she's not, but she was considered a big girl, right? But everybody who was ever her love interest was always like a hot guy. And I was just like, that's great.
Yeah.
Right? Because bigger women can get hot guys.
Oh, yes, we can.
But I was like, listen, like, there's no male equivalent. Right. But there's no male equivalent. Like, you don't see big fat guys like out there with like super hot chicks and killing it in the game, or you don't see predominantly like two, you know, average regular sized body people together on stuff. And like, we need to see more of that positive, like those positive things on our shows, because that's real life.
Yep.
That's why I love feminist porn. Like, feminist porn has people with real bodies. You know, like, you don't unzip the pants and there's an erection. Like, you actually have to do some work. Not everybody's asshole.
I've never heard of that before. Feminist porn. I had no idea that was even a thing. Like, I had no idea. Now I know.
It definitely doesn't pop up on the like hottest section of Pornhub. So you gotta find it, you know.
No, it's not on the free site. It's not on the free sites.
Interesting.
But representation, I didn't realize that it was so important until I think I mentioned it before when I was listening to a pop song, and it was talking about a gay couple in the pop song, and I've never heard a pop song about that before, and I started crying while I'm running in the morning with my dog, and my dog's like, really, this is when you're gonna cry over this pop song.
But it makes a difference.
It really does. And that was the first time I was like, oh, this is what they mean by representation. I had no idea what, like, I was like, what do you mean? Because like, being, you know, a white dude, you're in everything. You're everywhere. So you never really think about it. You're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Right.
So yeah, that I see how important representation is, and how I like to say it's like, you know, to see, we need light, and light is made up of all of the different colors of the rainbow. So we need all of those different stories, all those different colors to really see, you know, completely. So And I like that's what we know. We do here at the Toys and sharing the stories of, what was it like for you, Mr. Skate, starting out as a woman in comedy? Was it challenging?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, there wasn't a night that I would go out that I wouldn't get hit on by some dude was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's what you got? Look at this goddess in front of you, and you're gonna come up and say, hey?" Like, no. Like, boy, bye. Like, my number one rule in comedy is you don't fuck another comic. Okay? Like, I'm not gonna eat where, I'm like not gonna shit where I eat, basically. You know what I mean? It's like, and also like comics, right? We're very like we're very competitive. So if I were to date a guy in comedy, like I just feel like we'd try to be competitive. Like, oh, I booked 3 shows. Oh, well, I booked 4 shows. It's sort of like, or I have 5-minute set. Oh, well, I have a 10-minute set. Or I was funnier, or just dumb shit. When it's just like, I don't want to even deal with that. It just I don't want to date in my wheelhouse. Like I want to broaden my outside of just comedy. But here's the thing: being a woman in comedy, we've done comedy. Maria, you can attest to this. We've done comedy in some like really shady places.
Right? You ain't lying, girl. That is
like the walk back to the car, right through the creepy alley, and you're just like, this is where I die. This is where I get raped. Like, this is where I become an episode on SVU, Law and Order. Like, where is Mariska Hargitay? Like, Olivia Benson, are you coming out of the woodwork to save me?
It's interesting. I do want to,
like,
Oh, go ahead. Well, what I was saying
go for it.
Growing up, and really until recently, in the last, I don't know, few years, I was always a big girl, and I never really got a lot of that same kind of, I don't know, harassment when it came to the opposite sex. Like, guys never really hit on me, or because I'm on top of being a big girl physically, I have a big personality. And I will say, like, men are very intimidated by me. So my experience growing up and just even in LA, like I never felt fear. Like, I would walk around like Highland Park by myself. Granted, it's already being gentrified. It's been gentrified. But even before, like when it was still very like shady, I never was scared. And even my friends would be like, aren't you afraid to get raped? I was like, I wish like and that's something that they will tell you as a woman when you're by yourself. Don't ever look down. Don't look scared, because they will target you. And I think, thankfully, so far, like I always kind of put that vibe off anyway. So I feel like I've been very blessed to not have to have such like horrible experiences. Not that I haven't had any, but for the most part, like just, I think really what the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, women don't cower, don't show fear. You know what I'm saying? They're like wolves. They smell that fear. And just, I have walked women to their car before because they were scared. And I was like, girl, I got you, like, you don't know if I got a blade under my tongue, like, right? So I'm just grateful that that has been, so any comedian ladies out there, like, if you are ever, I will walk you to your car.
Like, I've had some really like creepy things happen to me. Like, I've had people, like, obviously the pickup lines, right? Or, how much does it cost for you to beat me? And I'm just like, honey, if you're here, you couldn't afford me. Like,
yes.
I've also had like the people that heckle me that are like, show us your tits, you know, like that type of stuff. You know, or like people like awkwardly like rub their, you know, like junk against you as they go through like, you know, a hallway, and you're just like, dude, this is not a nightclub. Like there's enough space in this hallway for both of us. Oh yeah, I honestly, I've had my butt and my tits grazed so many times. Like seriously, I was just like, oh my God, like I should be charging a cover fee at this point.
Damn.
I feel so like unattractive.
Like luckily,
no
like
one's, like ever harassed me or rolled up on me at all. Like I'm like, what's wrong?
But then I've also, you know, with what my comedy is, being an alpha female, like I've also had that respect from men because they're like, she's a bad bitch. Like you don't want to mess with Mistress K. Like, or they'll be like, she has a whip. Like she'll kill you right now.
She will Indiana Jones your ass, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the nights that I'll do comedy with like Tyrone, who is my big black dildo. Like those nights, no one fucks with me. Like no one.
Molly Wop with a big dildo on your head.
Seriously, my ex roommate. Yeah, sometimes like it's stuck in between the Ice House logo. One time when I was doing his set.
Oh my God.
I actually slapped it down onto the chair because you know how they have suction cups, and I picked it up and moved the chair, and that got a huge laugh.
Whoa. That's some power right there.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the whole front row of the audience was like Asian people, and it was like predominantly like Asian women, and they were like, oh, right? And I was like, don't act like that. You know, you were like, oh. And then I had like 4 women after the show come up just to touch him, like just to touch Tyrone. They're like, can we touch Tyrone, or can we get a picture with Tyrone? And I was like, I almost like was this close to creating like a like Tyrone account on Instagram, like Tyrone the dildo, and like my adventures with him. But I was like, no, that's too much. I was like, that's too much work, and I feel like that account would get blown up, and like Mistress K would just be like, oh well, you know, like she's the like she's the Robin to the Batman situation, you know. So I didn't do it.
Oh my God.
I bet Tyrone doesn't even fit in your purse.
It depends on the purse size because he's 10 inches, so he's quite large, you know. And because he's like the dark skin version, it's not even realistic. It's literally like just like solid jet black. Like, and I'm like, nobody's dick looks like this. Like, you know, like I know. I've been out there.
I've had all the colors of the rainbow.
Do you prefer it to look realistic? Do you like it looking realistic, or do you want it to look like a woodland creature?
No, I wanted to like.
What do you think, Maria?
Right? If I wanted,
I don't know. Actually, I personally, I'm yeah.
Like, would you
I'll
rather
take a pink one, like a purple with glitter,
a rabbit, or a squirrel, or a raccoon, or do you want it to actually look like what it's supposed to look like?
You know, I think I'd take both. I think it's just like whatever you're in the mood for that night. You know, keep it fun and festive. Keep it fun and festive.
It depends on the scene. It depends on the scene, right? Like we call these scenes when we do role plays and stuff like that. Like if I'm playing, Mistress K alpha female, where I want you to suck my fake dick, like I want it to look like that. I don't want it to be like this, like pretty, like pink sparkly thing that you're just like, what is this? You know, like
that makes sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
Have you ever done a role play situation, Maria?
Yeah. No, it was great. It was hot. I mean, it wasn't like something, but it was just me and my. It was. It wasn't any, it was just like playing like we didn't know each other. Like it was me and my boyfriend at the time, and we had like people over at the house, and then we were out like on the balcony or something, and we started talking like we had just met, and we played it all the way through. And I was like, and like we both were really good at acting. I was like, oh my God, like I'm a little freaked out. Hold on. Because he got so real. It felt like it was some guy I just met, and I was just like, oh, okay, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. I'm getting lost in the character here. I'm a method actor.
You're like, I'm not one of those girls.
I think I even said, oh, I've never done this before. Oh, it's good times.
Sure. Never done
this before. Stuff.
Do you ever wear? Have you ever worn a costume or like done like a whole like outfit, like been a maid or a nurse or some superhero? What's your favorite costume, Mistress K?
I have this I have this cat suit that's made out of silicone, and like it's a silicone latex hybrid, and literally like you have to put like special, you know, like lubricant on your body so you can get in and out of this thing.
Wow.
It takes a while. But I just like, I feel like if I were a superhero, that's what I would wear. And yeah, like I've worn that out like when I would, you know, go to like play parties and stuff like that. That was my outfit, you know, like everybody knew who I was by my outfit. And I left it in Boston, so it's at home. I haven't brought it out to LA yet. But everybody's like, why don't you wear that stuff on stage? And it's like, because I don't want to get arrested. Like, you know, like this is a 6 p.m. show. It doesn't even get dark till 8:30. Like, come on.
Oh my God.
Daytime comedy.
I'm like, I can't afford the ticket for indecent exposure.
What's one of the toughest rooms that you've ever played, Mistress K? Where you've gotten up and you're like, oh boy, this is gonna, you know. And same question for you, Maria. What's one of the toughest rooms where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna win this audience over. Oh boy, this is a tough one. What do you what thinking back? What was one of the hardest rooms you played?
So a buddy of mine, he has this wandering nomad production company, and he does comedy in Santa Barbara because that's where he lives. And I did a 20-minute set in Santa Barbara, and it was like all like older white people, and then there was like a cluster of like 15, 16-year-olds. And I was like, well, if you haven't got the sex talk yet, welcome. And it was awkward. I had to like, there was a lot of like calling it because it was just like people were uncomfortable to laugh. And I was just like, listen, like this is about me. So like, don't feel bad. Like you can laugh at me. And then after I said that, like people kind of like loosened up their ass cheeks. But I was just like, oh no, this is not going too well for me. Like these old people have no idea what a facial is.
Oh man. Man, I can't, you know.
What about you, Maria? What was one of the
man, I think this was like, you know, sometimes you just have you aren't on it for whatever reason. The crowd isn't always, the energy isn't always there. So I've had a couple like where it was like, there was this one down in San Diego. I forget where it was at. It was like near Beauty Bar, somewhere in downtown or something. And man, no one was laughing at anything I said. And let's be, you know, I know I'm funny. I know I'm not just like some, you know, whatever comedian. Like, like, come on. And I think the only and one of my jokes at the time, like that was like usually a fan favorite, was about pink dick and why guys always have pink dick. And I just made this really weird, yeah. And even that one did not hit. And I was just like, okay, y'all just not even here for a comedy show. And I was out. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Y'all are just, I don't know what it is. It's like, and I think, and honestly, it was like the probably the first generation of hipsters when the hipsters started coming out. And I really think that's like, they're all a bunch of pretentious fucks. And I was like, ugh, whatever, I'm out of here with your pink dicks. And so I was just, even the other comedian, the headliner or whatever, he was just like, man, these guys were just pricks. They were at a comedy show, but they weren't even trying to laugh. So it's pretty rough when you have that kind of crowd. What about you, Iggy?
I had a guy use my government name, like introduce me with my government name. And I was like, I don't know who the hell that bitch is, but I'm here. I was like, we can go nowhere but up from here, right? Well, no, it didn't. It was even worse. Rough.
I think the toughest one, I was doing a New Year's show for, it was a private show for in Calabasas at this big mansion for all these Russian business folk. And I had written the show, and then the morning of, my manager calls me and go, oh, by the way, their children are going to be there, so it needs to be like squeaky clean. And I'm like, I had to like rewrite my show that afternoon for the night. I was like, I can't even say. I was like freaking out. Like, I have to write an entirely new show this afternoon. What am I gonna do? So that was a tough challenge, but I ended up pulling it off. But that was hard when you're like coming with this, I think, oh, this is gonna be this adult, fun, sexy show, and now it's like, oh, now it's gonna be a Nickelodeon. I planned for like Showtime, Cinemax, and now we're like streaming Nickelodeon. I'm like, what do I do? Oh, so before we go, I would love to ask, what does success mean to you in comedy or just in general, Mistress K? When you hear the word success, what does that look like to you?
Well, definitely like 1 million subscribers on my Instagram. So Instagram is Mistress K5 on the gram. But realistically, I just want to get paid, and not in drink tickets. I just really just want to have a consistent flow of income so I can support my habit wigs. Yeah, and so I can buy my vegetables, because vegetables are it's like $1,200 for an eggplant. So
That's true.
Just trying to take care of myself.
I do want to ask about
but ultimately would be.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry. Oh
no, go for it.
No, I wanted to ask, you have a ton of wig, at least I've seen you in a new wig every show that I've done, that I've seen you in. We performed together a couple times and anything online. So I don't know, where do you always wear a different wig on your show? Do you ever wear your natural hair? Tell me a little about that.
No. So there's a very big distinction between Mistress K and Christina. And Christina is regular. She's regular, schmegular, basic. This is Mistress K. So my wigs are like my children, and it all started with Queen from Boston. And she had this fabulous, big, full, blonde with purple and pink hair. And I was like, bitch, where did you get that hair? I am living for it. And she was like, oh, I have a wig store. And it wasn't hers. Trust me, she lied. But I went down to the store, and actually it was a Halloween store run by these queens. And I was like, listen, I will trade you dildos for wigs. And that's how I started.
That's awesome.
And I don't like to do my hair. I don't have a glam swad, so it's a lot easier just to put on some hair than actually do mine.
That is great.
So, yeah.
Well, I think we're coming towards the end here.
Yes.
Any
We
shows
have
that you
our show
got?
at La Marina. Yes, I was about to say La Marina this Saturday, the 19th at 5 p.m. down here in Baja for anyone who's watching in the Ensenada Punta Banda area. And then I'm doing Dat Fans show on Sunday at 3 o'clock as well. What about you, Mistress K? In addition to Saturday's show, are you performing on Sunday?
Yes, I'm performing in LA. It is actually in let me get you this. It is, where is it? I'm performing in LA. It's at the Grove. It's on Orange Grove Ave at the Lion X Studios. So it's an outdoor show. It's also a kids toy drive. So if anybody wants to come by, it's a free show. Bring some toys for the kids. I was like, toys, and my mind went the other toy. So I had to preface this that it's toys for tots, not for boxes, you know. So I'm doing that, and then I've got my podcast that's coming back, The Closet. So I'll definitely have to have you folks on, and just follow me on the gram.
Amazing. I actually have a few shows tomorrow. Is that music, Iggy? You guys hear that? I don't know. I'm like listening. What is that?
Can you? I can hear you.
It's freaking me out.
The echo.
Oh, so anyway, I have a show tomorrow.
So when's your show coming up this weekend, Maria?
Tomorrow at 2:00 with Brooke Barcel. We've had her on the show before. She's doing the Stay Home comedy.
Oh yeah.
So you can watch that on her YouTube, Backline comedy. I'll post it on my Instagram and on my Facebook as well. And then that same night, I'm doing another show, but I haven't got the info on that. So stay posted on my Instagram. And then Dat Fan on Saturday at 7 o'clock. So all that stuff you can find on my Instagram and Facebook. Or you can message me if you can't find any of the information, Maria De La Ghetto on all platforms.
Love it. Ray, we love you. Thank you for tuning in.
Ray.
We want to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for joining us. Maria, always thank you for holding it down. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Ciao.
Love you.